Now I'm standing under our replica Curtiss A-1 hydroplane. This was the Navy's first aircraft in 1911. Glenn Curtiss had a different design philosophy than the Wright brothers. Those were the two basic camps that were up and building aircraft in the first 10 years of the 1900s. And the difference was wing warping on the Wright aircraft and actual ailerons on Glenn Curtiss's aircraft. He's the first guy to have those movable control surfaces out on the end of the wings. So he gets all the credit. When you say airliner flying today with ailerons, we got to give credit to Glenn Curtiss. So when Glenn Curtiss came to San Diego, he had already done experiments with a hydroplane to meet Navy requirements for an observation vehicle. The Navy wanted to join the long list of everybody else. The Army had already bought their first aircraft, so now it was the Navy's turn. And obviously they wanted something that could operate from the water. There were not even a basic way to launch an aircraft from a ship at that time. So the workaround would be the aircraft needed to have floats and it needed to be able to take off and land from the water. So the Curtiss A-1 with the OX-5 engine is the first aircraft that met all those requirements. He brought it here to San Diego. He brought it across the bay to what is now Naval Base Coronado. For decades it was Naval Air Station North Island. Before that it was Rockwell Field, and prior to that, that's when Glenn Curtiss back in 1911 first flew his hydroplane for the Navy. When he brought it here, the interesting thing is it wasn't a two-seat aircraft. You can see right now there's a room on the seat for the pilot to sit, or the student pilot to sit next to Glenn Curtiss while he's doing the instruction. When he first showed up, it was a one-seat aircraft. He didn't realize he was going to be required to give instruction. The first 5 flights for the Navy and Marines didn't involve a seat. Those early aviators laid on this float for those first handful of flights. Now, if you can imagine, it was quite a refreshing experience, but it wasn't very useful for instruction. When they came the second week, Glenn Curtiss had rigged up a wider seat, and now there was a 2-seat, and you could sit side by side and he could explain everything he was doing to the student aviator beside him. To me, that's when naval aviation truly started, on those first flights. Now this is a replica. Like I said, it was built in 1986, 85-86 for the 75th anniversary of naval aviation, and we were so proud we took it right out to the bay. We had a pilot here working in the building that was capable, and he took this aircraft off, the one you're seeing above you, and he flew it around San Diego Bay. It was a thrilling day. I was quite young back then, and it's one of my favorite memories to stand at the bay and watch this thing fly under its own power. 25 years after that 1986 flight, we were coming up on the 100th anniversary of naval aviation. I raised my hand in a meeting and said, "Are we going to fly it again?" And everyone in the room thought it was a interesting idea, and we did. We set about the project to take it down from the ceiling, take it back across the bay for one more run. The concept was to give a nice fast taxi. On the anniversary, the 100th anniversary, the Navy had a massive celebration planned. 100 different Navy aircraft of all different eras were going to fly down the bay. And we thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get ours out, and even though it's not really a flyable aircraft at this stage, we can go do some taxiing around the bay, show people what it was like back in 1911. So on that day, on that beautiful day, probably one of the nicest days San Diego's had, the bay was perfectly flat. Every element came together, and we took it over to North Island, put it in the water. We had a replacement engine, a brand new, much more powerful engine, and when the pilot from Hollywood put the gas to it, the aircraft shot away from the pier, and we were all shocked. We had probably 40 or 50 people from the museum, quite a few Navy people, and we were all really amazed at how much power this aircraft had. And a few minutes later, that manifested into a short, unplanned, and very unexpected flight. It went fine. The pilot did a magnificent job of keeping it straight and level. He got it back in the water without any damage to it. and we were rewarded with being able to see our creation fly again after 25 years. I can promise you we will not fly it again in the future. It was not so much a near thing, but these replicas are now old enough where they're artifacts, and we don't want to see anything like that happen. So our friend Kyle Kidrick did a wonderful video of that day, and I'm in the video looking just as young as I was back then, and I just enjoy that moment, and I love sharing this with our visitors. This is one of the very coolest things we've done here, and this is our Curtiss hydroplane.